Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. Yesterday we began solving SAT grammar questions from this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. This book contains 10 real SATs. Yesterday we began with exam number 1, test number 1, and today we're going to continue with it. Please turn to page number 408. The problems that we're about to solve are the ones that you will find on page number 408. Please turn to it. And today is our lesson number 2. Let's begin. There's a simple multiple choice grammar questions, and that's all there is. And this is what is known as the so-called the writing part of the SAT. There is a very small portion in the writing portion of the SAT that actually requires writing, which is the SAT, which constitutes only about 20% of your writing score. 80% of your writing score comes from the part that has absolutely nothing to do with actual writing. It comes from simple multiple choice grammar questions, as I just said. Today we are on page number 408. We did page number 407 yesterday. Number 6, please turn to it. Number 6. Now, as I explained to you yesterday, there are 11 questions. There are 11 questions of this type, and since there are 11 of them, the first 4 or 5 are easy, the next 4 or 5 are medium, and the last 4 or 5 are going to be hard. So the problems that we did yesterday on page number 407, 1 through 5, those were easy. Think of this in terms of pages. First page that you see there, 1 through 5, they are easy. The first column in the page that we are about to do, page 408, the first column is medium. In the second column, the right hand side column is going to be hard. 9, 10, 11 are hard, because on the scale of 1 through 11, those are the last 3. And then as we get to number 12, the scale will begin all over again, because starting with number 12, we have a new type of questions. Do you understand? So the scale of difficulty doesn't go strictly by the number of questions in the entire section. In the whole section, this particular section, in the entire part, it has 35 questions. It does not mean the first 12 are easy, the next 12 are medium, the last 12 are hard. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't go by, as I said, by the total number of questions in the entire section. The scale of difficulty goes by the type of questions. There are 11 of them here. Let's begin. So 6, 7, and 8 that we're about to do, they are medium questions. The 3 volumes of memoirs begin with, so this is what it says, 3 volumes of memoirs begin with his childhood, they begin with his childhood and culminate with his years at the university. Now, like I told you yesterday, 2 things. First of all, don't bother with my clumsy handwriting. It's very atrocious, as I explained to you yesterday. Counting on the fact that you have the book in front of you. So read the problem with me. And I also tend to chop down the questions. As you can see, this is not how the question is written. Try to understand the bits that you need to concentrate on and ignore all the others. Only concentrate on the important bits. Your job is to understand the gist of the sentence, the essence of the sentence, the nub of the sentence as quickly as possible. Yesterday I used this word and I put it on the blackboard and I never actually explained the word. That's what it means, nub, N-U-B, nub. It means the gist, the essence, the core of the sentence, the core, the central idea of what they're trying to say. The word is nub. We learned this word on day number 11. If you're interested in learning this word properly, just type in SAT vocabulary words, day 11, and the video will pop right up. Again, one more time, SAT vocabulary words as opposed to SAT grammar. SAT vocabulary words, day 11, and it will pop right up and you will learn this word nub, N-U-B. The essence, the gist of the sentence. This is it. This is the essence of the sentence. Everything else that you see in the sentence is just there to fill the space, just to confuse you. So what does it say? It says, his memoirs begin with his childhood and culminate with his years at the university. How does one fix this sentence? To which the answer is, one does not. It's a beautifully written sentence. There is nothing wrong with it. It's fine. The answer is A. There is nothing wrong with it. It says, his memoirs begin with his childhood years and culminate with his years at the university. How will you fix it? There is nothing there to fix. The answer is A. Let's go to the next one. Number 7. Number 7. It says, dressed in a crisp, clean uniform, and then to put a comma, it reflected the efficient manners of the guard. The efficient manner of the guard. Dressed in a crisp, clean uniform, it reflected the efficient manner of the guard. As you can see, it's a pretty awkward way of starting a sentence. What can we do with it? Now, as I explained to you yesterday, I'm reminding you again, and I probably will say it many, many times more. Do not, under no circumstances should you look at the answer choices. Do not look at the answer choices. Don't even glance at them. You should have the answer choices covered with your other hand. Have pencil in one hand so that you can do the changes that you need to do. You're going to actually do the changes. You can actually write it down. And with the other hand, while you're doing the work, the answer should be covered at all time. And do not, for crying out loud, be clever to use your calculator or use your rulers or do something else to cover the answer choices. In other words, do not do anything that you will not be able to do in the real exam. Your idea, the goal here is not simply to do the problems, but also to simulate the conditions that you will encounter in the real exam. In the real exam, you will not have the luxury of covering the answer choices with your calculator, because they will take the calculator away during the English portion. Do you understand? You will not have a ruler to cover the answer choices with. You will not have anything except one thing that you know for sure that they will not take away are your arms. Cover your answer choices with one hand, have the pencil ready in the other hand, and do the changes. Do not look at them. So if you have the answers covered, this is what we will do. Dressed in a crisp, clean uniform, it reflected. I don't like it. This is not necessary. These first three words are not necessary. Crisp, clean uniform reflected. Crisp, clean uniform reflected the efficient manner of the guard. That's all. That's it. We're done. That's all there is. Now, at this point, we have done the work. We know precisely what we're looking for. It is when that you're ready. It is when that you know what you're looking for is the time to actually look for it. It's a very simple concept, and yet I have come across so many times students who simply refuse to understand the simple concept. You must know what you are looking for before you start before you start looking for the bloody thing. Do you understand? It's like being in the room. Looking at the answer choices is like being in the room and somebody walks in and says, "What are you looking for?" And you turn to them and say, "I don't know. I'll know when I find it." No, that's insanity. You cannot start looking for the bloody thing without actually knowing what it is, the damn thing that you're looking for. You must cover your answer choices. You must fix the sentence. Once you've fixed it, now you know what you're looking for. Now look at the answer choices and pick the one answer choice that comes closest to it, and that's all there is. The answer choice that comes closest to it, let's go through it. There is no point in reading answer choice A, because A just repeats the answer. A just repeats whatever is in the original sentence. And B starts out the same way, and so does C. They all start out in the same way. The way we want it, crisp, clean uniform, is either D or E. D says crisp, clean uniform of the guard reflected her efficient manner. There you go. And E says reflection. That's not what we want. The answer is D. The answer is D. Let's move on to the next one, number 8. A cure for some kind of cancer. A cure for cancer. A cure for cancer. Scientists believe. May be found. That's it. That is the gist of the sentence. That is the nub of the sentence. And that's all you need to concentrate on. Nothing else. Everything else, as I said before, I always use a very technical term to describe everything else that you see in the sentence. And the technical term that I always employ is mumbo jumbo. Everything else you see there is mumbo jumbo. Don't waste your time reading it. Don't waste your time analyzing it to death. Just concentrate on the important bits. So here's the nub of the sentence. A cure for cancer, scientists believe, may be found someday. A cure for cancer, scientists believe, may be found How does one fix it? To which again the answer is one does not. It's a beautifully written sentence. It's a beautifully written sentence. There is nothing wrong with it. Now here, if you're sitting there and saying to yourself that you might want to put this part here, scientists believe that a cure for cancer may be found. If you want to switch these two words to the beginning of the sentence, listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. That is not correcting the grammar. That has nothing to do with grammar at all. As far as the grammar is concerned, as far as the rules of grammar are concerned, this sentence is fine the way it is written. If you move these two words in the front of the sentence, that is the matter of taste. That is how you like it. And that is called editing. There is a difference between editing and grammar. Editing is a matter of debate, it's a matter of taste, it's a matter of mood. The exact same person may write one paragraph one way one day, and the very next day he or she may write the same exact paragraph containing the same exact ideas in a little bit different way. But as far as the grammar is concerned, both the first day and the second day when she wrote the two passages, two comments, they were perfectly fine, even though they are written in a different manner. As far as the grammar is concerned, they are perfectly fine because she knows her grammar. Do you understand? Grammar is not a matter of debate. This is a matter of debate. Should we put them in the beginning of the sentence or should we stick them in the middle? The answer is, it's up to you. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. As far as the grammar is concerned, this sentence is fine, and therefore the answer is A. Let's go on to the next one. Number 9. Concentrate, understand what it is that you're asked to do. You're asked to fix the grammar. Not only grammar, but very simple, very basic, very elementary concepts of English language grammar. They do not ask you for anything complicated. Number 9. Now I do want to warn you, number 9, 10, 11 are tricky. So if you are going to make one or two mistakes on this particular page, on the first page I hope you will never make any mistake because first 5 questions are very easy, very simple. You must never make any mistakes on the easy questions. The first 1/3 of the exam, which are easy questions, whether it's math or English or grammar or reading or writing, whatever it is, the first 1/3 of any given type of questions you must get right if you have any hope of getting a decent score. So that was the first page, 1 through 5. So that's a straightforward thing. What I was going to say is that if you are going to make 1 or 2 mistakes on this particular page, which a lot of people will do, there's nothing wrong with it. If you make 1 or 2 mistakes out of 11, which is fine, it is perfectly fine. Making 3 or 4 is a bit too much. If you just have 1 or 2 mistakes, it's okay, it's alright, don't worry about it. So if you're going to make 1 or 2 mistakes, it is going to be on this page, out of the 11 questions, you understand? And most likely, one of those mistakes is going to be in the second column. They are tricky. Number 9. A review of the composer's new symphony called it confusing because of its unusual structure. They called it confusing because of its unusual structure, and its melodious final movement makes it elegant. Let's write it on the blackboard, shall we? Critics called it confusing. Why? Why did they call it confusing? Because of its confusing structure. Now so far, if somebody were to ask you how to fix this sentence, the answer is that it doesn't need any fixing. This is a perfectly fine sentence. Critics called it confusing because of its unusual structure, not confusing structure. I caught myself here because they wouldn't repeat the word here, that'll be silly. Because of its unusual structure. Now when I'm writing things on the blackboard, as I said, if my writing is atrocious, if I misspell the things, don't worry about it. Your job should be to concentrate on what you're here for, which is to learn the grammar. Don't worry about the fact that this guy has a funny accent, this guy sometimes mispronounces the word, this guy doesn't know how to spell words. Those are irrelevant. That's not what we are here for. We are here to learn the grammar. You and I both, actually. Do you understand? Because I'm learning at the same time that you are. English is not my first language. You understand that? Where were we? Critics called it confusing. Critics called it confusing because of its unusual structure. So far, so good. There is nothing wrong with it. Let's go on then. its melodious final movement makes it elegant. And its melodious final movement makes it elegant. Melodious, of course, I hope you know, it's a very straightforward word. It comes from the word melody. If something is melodious, you like to listen to it. It's pleasing to the ears. It's a compliment. It's melodious. I like it. I love listening to it. So as you can see, the second part of the sentence is complimentary. It says something positive. It says something positive about the thing. The first part starts out by calling it confusing. It's negative. And yet they have the word "and" stuck in the middle. It's not going to work. If you're going to say something positive and then something negative, it has to have a word in between which shows the contrast. He's honest, he's punctual, he's hardworking, but he's sometimes lazy. You see? But, not "and." You're not going to go around saying he's honest, he's hardworking, he's intelligent, and he's not punctual. No, "and" will not work there. It will have to be, but he's not punctual. We need to make a contrast. That's all it is. "And" won't do it. We need something that makes a contrast. And, but, or however, or something to that nature. Let's start. B says, although elegant by having its melodious, no, it's not going to work. And although I don't like it. There is no point in reading C because C uses the word "and." D uses the word "while." I don't think "while" is going to work. We're looking for "but" or "however" or something like that. The answer is E. But elegant, let me read the whole thing. You can't just read the part E. Let's read the whole thing with part E in it. A review of the composer's new symphony called it confusing because of its unusual structure. But elegant, so they call it confusing but elegant. So the reviewer called it confusing but elegant because of its melodious final structure. There you go. The answer is E. The answer is E. Number 10, shall we? Number 10. By building new windmill farm, consumption of fossil fuels are reduced and tons of carbon dioxide emission are kept out of atmosphere. Now this is where it gets tricky. But the beauty of this exam is that because of the fact that it's so predictable, I'm breaking into sermon as you can tell, I'm putting the cap back here. It's so predictable, the layout of the exam, the structure of the exam is something that you should know ahead of time. There is nothing in the exam that should be a surprise to you. So we know here there are 11 questions of this particular type, and therefore I already know, even before we get to number 9, 10 and 10, we already know that they are going to be confusing, they're going to be challenging, we're going to have to slow down a little bit. Number 10 and 11, we're getting towards the end of it. We already know, so we have to be careful about it. Now I always tell you to cover your answer choices with your one hand, have the pencil ready in the other hand, and do the changes that you want to do. Cross out the words that you don't want in the sentence, insert the new words that you want to put in there. Do all of this thing before you look at the answer choices. Now having said that, now this is not, oh boy, something comes to my mind here. We'll come to this in a second. This is not an open invitation for you to look at the answer choices all the time. What I'm about to say should happen once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon, the sentence is going to be of such a nature where covering the answer choices and reading the damn thing, well, it's not going to get you anywhere. I was in one of those situations here. When I looked at the number 10, I really didn't know what the hell to do here. So I had no choice but to look at the answer choices. When you look at the answer choices, it actually takes much longer, which is why I don't like to look at them, because now I have to read every one of those 5 sentences, go back to the original sentences, compare the two and see if it works. But once in a while you have to do that, but only once in a while, not as a rule, not as a habit. So that's what I did here, and when you have to do that, that's also a very good chance that you might get it wrong, because obviously you're struggling with it, which is what happened with me. Again, though, there is no point reading A, because A is the same thing as the sentence itself. B says, by building new windmills, it starts out the same way, by building new windmill farms, so far so good. It reduces the consumption of fossil fuels. By building new windmills. No, it reduces the, no. and tons of carbon dioxide emissions are kept. And tons of carbon dioxide emissions are kept out of atmosphere. By building new windmills, farms, it's by building new windmill farms, and then it goes on to say it reduces. It's farms, it's plural. It cannot be it reduces. And that's what's wrong with it. Look at C. Let's look at C. By building new windmill farm, reduces the fossil fuel consumption. Now you see, in C, they do not use the word by. I just said it by mistake. It doesn't start out by the word. It doesn't start out with the word by. They have taken it out. So let's look at C. C says, building new windmill farms reduces the fossil fuel consumption. So here, we're not referring to the farms, we're referring to the process of building those farms. Building new windmill farms, even though this is plural, but we're looking at this. This is our subject of the sentence now. Building new windmill farms reduces fossil fuel consumption, and tons of carbon dioxide are kept out of atmosphere. There you go. I think the answer is C. But I'm going to quickly read D and E. When new windmill farms are built, I don't know, I don't like it. I start out with new windmill farms when built. No, I don't like E either. The answer is C. That's it. Let's go to the next one, number 11. But as you could tell, as I was doing it, that I was struggling with it. There's a good chance that I will get this one wrong, which is only to be expected. Out of the 11 questions that you see there, I do not get all 11 of them right as a rule. Some people do. I'm not one of those people. Some people do. Typically, out of 11, I do make 1 or 2 mistakes. I know my limitation. Do you understand? That's what it is. The point here is that if you are making more than 2 mistakes out of 11, doing the practice will help you reduce your rate of error. Even if you're making only 1 or 2 mistakes, practicing the exam does make you better at taking the exam. It lowers the anxiety. Number 11, the last one. Enough said. Number 11. The famous battle scene depicted in the movie took place in the northern England, and many people assume it was the Scottish Highland. Let's rewrite it, shall we? Let's rewrite this sentence. Don't look at the answer choices. Let's read one more time, and this time, second time around when you're reading it, let's rewrite it. See what it says here. It says, the famous battle scene in the movie, and again, the name of the movie and so forth is irrelevant. We don't care about that. The famous battle scene took place in the north. It took place in the north, and not in the south. It took place in the north and not in the south, as many people believe. That's it. That's our new sentence. The famous battle scene took place in the north and not in the south. Now, the fact that they say the Scottish Highland, that's very nice, it's very touching, but I really don't care about the Scottish Highlands. Just keep it simple, speak in terms of north and south. Do you understand? The famous battle scenes that are depicted in the movie actually took place in the north, not in the south, as many people believe. That's it, we are done. Lift your hand, look at the answer choices, and pick the one answer that comes closest to it. Let's go through them. B says, many people assuming. That's not what we have. We have many people. The whole point of making the changes like this and writing it out is to ensure that when you look at the answer choices, you don't have to analyze every single one of them to death. If it doesn't agree with what you said here, that should be the end of the story. Okay, don't analyze it. B starts out by saying, B says assuming. We do not have the word assuming. Many people believe or many people assume. We don't have believing or assuming here. B is not the answer. B is not the answer. But many people assume it to be no. It doesn't. There is no but in here. D says not what many people assume. No, that's not what we're saying here. We have as many people believe, and not in the South as many people believe. It's not D. So here we have not as many people assume. As many people assume. There you go. As many people assume. Not as many people assume. I have in the South part stuck in the middle, which is fine. The answer is E. The answer is E. The famous battle scene depicted in the movie, took place in the North and not in the South, as many people believe, or as many people assume, whatever. Do you understand? The answer is E. I will see you tomorrow when we'll begin the second type of the questions that you see there on the following page, and there are 18 of them. And since there are 18 of those beginning with question number 12, there are 18 of them. That means that the first 6 are going to be easy, the next 6 are going to be medium, and the last 6 are going to be hard. We'll deal with them tomorrow. Okay? Bye now.